League East. Here's the Phillies starting lineup tonight, brought to you by Smirnoff. Ryan Howard, 6 home runs in his last 7 games. Jason Worth, 4 home runs in his last 3 games. Worth now has 28 home runs for the season. This is a guy who is considered a complimentary player in that Phillies lineup. It's
been amazing, hasn't it, for the Phillies? Ibanez goes down a little bit, not performing like he did in the beginning of the season. Worth elevates his game. That's how it's been all season, all 2 seasons for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, the Phillies are the defending world champions, and the last time the Mets saw them in early July, they had been struggling a little bit. Charlie Manuel had to call them out a little bit, feeling as though they had been a little complacent. But since then, over the last month and a half, the Phillies have really kicked it into gear. And I wonder, having gone through the experience yourselves, whether after you win a World Series, sometimes there is that little hump to get over.
Well, it's tough to repeat. We know that. There's very few teams that repeat. And there is a chance of complacency. But I don't see it on this Philly crowd. Their problems lied in their pitching and in their starting pitching in particular. They always have hit. And now they have a very, very solid starting rotation, Ronnie.
Well, the addition of Cliff Lee was the best addition ever. Mike Pelfrey, of course, this season, coming off a start against the Giants that he was outstanding. A couple of runs and 7 1/3 innings pitched. Didn't give a hit up until the 4th inning, did Pelf. One thing to look at, though, he's 2-0 against the Phillies this year, but he's only given up 28 home runs in his entire career. It's over 400 innings. 3 of those have been to Chase Utley and only 18 at-bats.
And we'll give you the old Metsy Lexus defense, and you can see Chef out there in 65 games in left field, only committed 1 error. Anderson Hernandez at shortstop, gets Louis in there again tonight at second. And of course, we can't overlook Tatis at third base.
Charlie Manuel, after winning a World Series last year, has his Phillies 6.5 games to the good in the National League East. Now 20 games over 500 for the season. As you see there, 80 games over 500 in his 5 years managing the Phillies.
The best move I think he made all season long is that Jimmy Rollins was struggling mightily. Instead of giving him a day off, gave him 4 or 5 days off and let him think about it and saying to him, hey, listen, we need you to play better than you've been playing. You're going to sit for a while. You know what happened? Ever since July 1st now, he's been hitting well over 300.
Now, Rollins' numbers, as you saw there, are still well below what he'd like them to be for the season. But he was in such a miserable strait coming into the second half of the season that he needed some kind of a jolt. And clearly Rollins has become more like the Jimmy Rollins that the Phillies are accustomed to seeing over the last month and a half.
Well, it's nice to have a couple switch hitters at the top of the lineup. Rollins with 23 stolen bases, Victorino with 18.
Well, there was every expectation when you looked at the calendar coming into the season that this would be an enormous series for both sides. Now the Mets are reduced to trying to play spoiler as they begin a 4-game series against the first-place Phillies. Pelfrey 2-0 this year against Philadelphia, and no decision the last time he faced them on the 1st of June. And the first pitch of the night is taken inside for ball 1. And what Pelfrey needs to do more than anything else, you'd think, is to back up the good start his last time out with another one tonight.
Well, good point, Gary. That has really been his problem. Able to put 3, 4, 5 good starts in a row.
Well, he's going to face a much tougher lineup. This is, I think, the best lineup in the National League. And I really feel the Phillies now, with the moves they made in their pitching, are a better ball club than they were last year.
As we'll see Cliff Lee on Monday in the final game of this series. And there's the first strike from Pelfrey.
And Pelfrey, you can see going with those high stirrups, or not even stirrups, high socks with the high pants. I agree with you, Keith. I think their lineup is almost like an American League lineup now.
Broken back grounder down to Murphy, and Pelfrey over to cover for the first down of the night. Rain delay of 1 hour and 16 minutes at the start. And no rain on the horizon. Looks like we'll be in the clear for the rest of the night.
Well, Pelfrey come out aggressive, pitching inside. Ironically, Ronnie, against the Giants, he didn't pitch that lineup inside. It was the first time I saw Pelfrey against left-handers throw that hard sinker away predominantly. Usually he likes to establish in, but right on the get-go here, he knows he cannot live on the outside corner against this lineup.
Here's Shane Victorino hitting at .315, 6th in the National League. He's having a tremendous season. In the top 10 of the league in doubles and triples and runs scored.
He's quite a player.
Also one of the toughest hitters in the league to strike out.
Well, they knew what they were doing when they let Aaron Rowan go to the Giants. They had Victorino right there.
And Victorino is one of those guys who passed through a couple of organizations who didn't value him nearly as highly as he's turned out to be a player. He went through the Dodgers, he went through the Padres, wound up with the Phillies, and it has worked out in spades for Philadelphia.
Well, when he was with the Phillies, he won the minor league player of the year, which got him on the map. But the reason he was let go, or let Rowan go, because Rowan gave them a lot of toughness that the Phillies didn't have before. They have the same kind of toughness in Victorino.
Well, this is just a good blend. It's a team that gets along. They pull for each other, and a lot has to do with that man right there. He's easygoing Charlie. They love playing for him. It's tough enough, 162 games. And if you have conflicts within the ball club, it makes it infinitely tougher.
On the inside corner, strike 3 call. So Pelfrey coming inside early against the lefties, gets Victorino looking for the second out.
Well, a little dart of a four-seamer right on that inside corner. Nice job by Omir Santos with the framing of the pitch. That caught enough of the plate. That's a strike.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Chase Utley will bat with the bases empty.
Well, Utley's off to another 100 RBI season. He's been kind of hovering at 297, 299, 300 for around a couple weeks now. He's just very, very consistent. Oh, the Mets defense, look at that, playing him dead pull.
They started doing this the last time they faced the Phillies, not only playing Howard with the overshift, but Utley as well.
Yeah, but just interesting with Utley, if he hits the ball in the air, it will be straight away. If he hits the ball on the ground, it's more apt to pull.
It's like any other hitter. When you get more experienced, Utley came up going out to all fields. When you become more experienced, you learn to pull, become more of a pull hitter.
Rob Drake is the home plate umpire tonight. It is a 3-man umpiring crew. Tim Timmons at first and Mark Wegner at third. Rick Reed, who is the crew chief, has had to be called away and is absent tonight. And not quite sure what the reason is for that, but we have just 3 umpires for the game tonight. Ryan Howard on deck.
Good start for Mike.
1-2 to Utley. Bounce foul.
Hey, Chief, the pitch before, Chase Utley takes a strike from Pelfrey on the inside corner. He turns to the umpire, and what does he say when he sees that pitch inside?
He's asking him more than likely he took it, right?
Yes.
Well, if it's a call strike, he's probably asking him. I thought that maybe that might have missed. A lot of times you want to ask the umpire to take one. Was that a strike, whether they called it a ball or a strike? But I think in that case, he probably thought it was inside.
All speed pitch misses badly, and it's 2-2.
Utley's on top of that dish, boy.
Well, he's been hit 18 times this year, more than anybody else in the league.
Well, he's on top of it.
Well, he always gets hit in the mid-20s almost every season.
Lined into right field, and there's the first base hit of the night.
He is just so quick inside.
There's a two-seamer trying to bring that ball from the hip back out over the middle of the plate. The thing about Utley is that he sits right on that plate, dares you to throw it in, but he's so quick, and Mike didn't get that pitch far enough inside.
Well, he's so quick. Utley has a very, very short swing. Very little take back, not a lot of wasted motion. He's very quick. When you come inside on him, you better get it inside.
So now Ryan Howard, who is just 2 RBIs shy of his 4th consecutive 30 home run, 100 RBI season. There's been only one Philly in history who's done that 4 straight years, and that was Chuck Klein back in the 30s. And again, Pelfrey coming to the inside corner against the lefty.
And that is a super shift. Look at Castillo right there. My goodness. And look at the differential between he and Anderson Hernandez.
0-1 to Howard. Utley runs. Santos' throw just barely not in time. Utley's stolen base is 15th of the year.
Well, good throw by Santos, but too good a jump. And that might have been a strike right there, and the catcher coming up to throw might have took that strike away, but he just beat it. Good acceleration. The Phillies can beat you in so many ways.
Nice tag by Anderson Hernandez on the hip, just a little too late.
This team is 20 over 500.
Early in the season, Pelfrey was doing a very good job controlling the running game, but ever since that difficult start in San Francisco when he committed the 3 balks, things have changed mightily.
Well, what has happened for Mike to alleviate and take away those balks, he has now become predictable. You watch him, he has a natural kind of clock that he goes to make sure he can bring his hands to his stomach and then deliver the ball to the plate. That's been led around the league. Of course, the Phillies know it.
13 stolen bases now against Pelfrey this year in 19 tries. Hit hard up the middle, past Hernandez, base hit. Utley around third, and he'll come in with the first run of the night. 1-0 Philadelphia. 99 RBIs for Ryan Howard.
Well, all those fastballs away, inside, Ronnie, excuse me, and they try to go away here. You see that's a great shot. You see Santos in the background setting up, got it up, belt high, and Howard not the least bit intimidated in after all those pinches. And look, it just hit it so darn hard. Hernandez has no shot up the middle. Oh, the bullet. So the Phillies steal a run.
All after 2 out and nobody on. Now Jason Worth, who has been red hot, 4 home runs in his last 3 games, and he takes ball 1.
Well, you see the pitch differential. Whenever Pelfrey throws the ball waist or up, the ball will straighten out. It will not have sink on it, and that's why Howard hit that bullet up the middle.
Worth now with 28 home runs for the year, and he fouls one off.
And in the past, with the batter behind Mr. Howard and a base open, you might not have seen such a fat pitch, but you have to now because of the 28 home runs of Jason Worth.
And it's enabled Charlie Manuel to put Worth in between Howard and Ibanez, split up his left-hand hitters.
Exactly. For balanced lineup. And Worth against right-handers hitting only .255, but he's got 17 home runs. So he is a threat.
That's what he did in the series against Arizona, which the Phillies swept. Pelfrey misses low inside, falls behind Worth, 3-1.
This is Pelf out of the stretch again. Has difficulty pitching out of the stretch.
He just loses a little bit of that swagger and ability to throw the ball in the strike zone.
They're all deep in the box.
At least he's in the box.
Good fastball for a strike at 96. 3-2 to Worth. Raul Ibanez, who's been struggling a little bit since coming back from the disabled list, waiting on deck.
He was having an MVP year.
Howard gets set to run. 3-2. And Worth foul tips it. Santos holds it. Strike 3. Second strikeout of the inning for Pelfrey. 1-0 Phillies. Geico's starting lineup for the Mets tonight. Gary Sheffield back in there after taking a day to clear his head. Luis Castillo's been red hot at the plate. Angel Pagan leads off against Cole Hamels and takes a strike.
Well, Hamels, you see his numbers for the season, but he is 45-30 in his career. He's got a World Series MVP, almost a strikeout per inning pitched in his career.
Pagan hitting at 281, and he takes outside and low the curveball, 1-1.
Hamels is right over the top. Straight fastball, good curve, excellent change.
Pagan's hit in 5 straight games. And the changeup from Hamels, 1-2.
Well, he gives you that big motion. You'll see. Brings that high leg kick, goes behind the head with the arms, and the ball never gets there. Kind of telegraphed it when you see it from the side there.
Tell me about Hamels with the hand at his side and the ball in his glove.
Well, yeah, it's a very strange thing. It's a lot of times you'll see pitchers that have the hand in the glove, but every pitcher's a little different. He places the ball in there in the changeup grip, and then he'll change it when he's going over his head. He wants to throw a fastball.
I mean, isn't there a danger of misgripping the ball when you come in so late like that?
Usually there is, but for him, I guess, obviously, it has not been a problem. But if you have to place the ball the same every time, and it always fans the glove open pretty wide, so you'll never see an extra fan to let the hitter know that the changeup's coming.
1-2 to Pagan, and the changeup fouled off.
I used to do that, Gary, early in my career. Not have the glove out in front, but I would get the grip when I went up over the head. But when I started throwing a split finger, I couldn't do it anymore because I couldn't consistently get that split finger grip.
Hammered foul, so Hamels keeps coming with the changeup against Pagan.
Take a look at the Ford Philly defense. That's the best fielding percentage in the National League. It just means they haven't made that many errors. A lot of times 53 errors to be exact on the season. Thank you, Ron.
8th pitch to Pagan, grounded toward the hole, base hit. Well, that's the difference between the Phillies having Pedro Feliz playing third base and having Greg Dobbs, who's playing there tonight.
Well, nice grip. Got a little change up.
Too much plate. And up a little bit. And you're right, Feliz is a fine fielder getting the night off tonight. Good at bat by Pagan.
Charlie Manuel has been playing the same guys day after day and felt he needed to get Dobbs some playing time. So Feliz sitting the first game of the series. But I guarantee you, if the Phillies have a lead late, Feliz will be in there. Here's Castillo, who's just raging hot with the bat right now. Louis now 8th in the National League in batting, hitting at .312. His on-base percentage up to .404 for the year. See if the Mets try and run against Hamels tonight. He's given up 11 steals this year.
This is Louis' power side, too.
And at the corners, you notice the last series, the Braves, Tripper Jones played much more aggressively, and Greg Dobbs right at the cut of the grass.
Wouldn't be all that shocked if at some point tonight Louis tries to bunt on Dobbs.
There's Philly. Oh, he's got some Chester A. Arthur chops on.
Very nice. That's a good call. Our 21st president. You are a constant source of amazement. When I was a kid in elementary school, in kindergarten, actually, the little milk cartons that we get for lunch, they had the pictures of the presidents on.
Do you remember was the Coca-Cola or the Pepsi promo that they had the bottle caps with the presidents on them? I was now a young kid. I forget. I think it was Pepsi. Our sponsor.
It's amazing how we learn, isn't it? Here's the 0-2. Hits a second, should be 2. Utley to Rollins and on to Howard. 4-6-3, 2 out and nobody on.
Well, they always say to win in the big leagues, you got to be strong defensively up the middle, and that is your middle infielders. And boy, you're going to be hard pressed to find two finer ones in the infield, Rollins and Utley.
What was Utley doing, flipping that with his glove?
That was very unusual. Utley, who was usually Mr. by the book, there flipping with the glove. That's always difficult for the shortstop because you don't know how it's going to come out of the glove, whether it's going to be high, low, soft, or fast.
Do you think it just stuck and he was forced to do that?
Maybe.
Because that doesn't look at all like something Utley would do. Well, here's Sheffield. After sitting out last night, takes a strike.
Well, here's the play again. You're right. Close enough to give that little shuffle. It's called a shuffle pass.
What you call it? A fancy Dan? What's your...
Check swing grounder toward the big hole.
Oh, my goodness.
And Sheffield's going to get a hit out of that.
Wow.
With Utley playing him almost behind the bag at second, Gary Sheffield gets a very fortunate hit.
Well,
see that changeup grip.
that's a nice shot, Mr. Webb, our director. You can see the leg kick of Sheff. And you can see Utley up the middle. And guess what? The only guy that had a shot for it was Mr. Howard. And Mr. Howard, who's played much better defense this year, really come a long way. Still doesn't have a lot of great range. It's a big guy, lumberer. It's a lumbering first baseman.
So now Jeff Francoeur hitting cleanup. And he takes high. Francoeur has far more at bats than any other man against Hamels. 7 for 35 lifetime. Just 200 against this left-hander. Off the end of the bat, 1-1.
When's the last time the Mets have worn their black tops? Has it been a while, or am I just losing my mind?
I wasn't keeping track.
I haven't seen them out there in a while with the black tops.
Might have had them on the last road trip.
Oh, good fastball. Threw it right by Francoeur. Change up away, followed by a fastball in.
Well, if you guys had Mr. Seaver on last night, he will tell you that is the art of pitching, right? Hard in, soft away.
And hard away. 2-2. Fernando Tatis hitting 5th in the order tonight, making his 6th consecutive start at third base in the absence of David Wright. 2-2 to Francoeur. Struck him out with a changeup. First strikeout for Cole Hamels. Mets get 2 hits but don't score. 1-0 Phils. Yankees and all things New York sports on Loudmouths, presented by Geico, weeknights at 6, only on SNY. Raul Ibanez sitting at 289. As Keith said, first half of the year he was the prime MVP candidate in the National League. after signing a free agent deal with the Phillies. Went on the disabled list with a groin injury and has struggled since coming back.
Well, before the groin injury, he was hitting .312 with 22 home runs and 59 RBIs. Since his return on July 11th, he's hit .239 with only 5 home runs and 19 RBIs, and that's in 117 at bats.
And more recently, just 4 for 33 with 14 strikeouts in that 33 at bat stretch. And those who have been watching him every day say it looks like he's favoring that leg a little bit.
He is a gamer. This is a guy that played a couple of 162 game seasons when he was in Seattle, so he does not like to stay out of the lineup even if he's 75–80%.
And he's a trooper.
Yeah.
And he's having a tough August too. His August is .218 with only 1 home run and 3 RBI. And we're August 21st now.
Breaking ball by Pelfrey, strikes out at Ibanez. At 3 strikeouts early for Pelfrey.
Nice changeup here by Mike. A little dot there on the outside. I have to take that back. That can't be a changeup with a dot. That's just kind of a spinning slider, and it was. Just never broke over the middle of the plate.
And it was not a strike. I thought it was outside. And Ibanez is really, you can tell when hitter's in a slump, you can, the expressions on the face tell it all. That's what Sievert said. Sievert always come out, and Tom said, and you always watch the opposing team take batting practice.
Dobbs gets under one to right field, and Frank Core drifting over. Dobbs out on 1 pitch, getting a rare chance to play. Hadn't appeared in a game at all since Saturday, and that's the 2nd out.
Getting back to Seaver, he said he would always watch the opposing team take batting practice and see who was swinging the bat well. And the hitters, he said, would always give away. And I can attest to that. If I was struggling and I would not feel comfortable at the plate, it would show. And if I was red hot, it would show where I was peppering the ball all over the place. So he would always make a note. Okay, Billy Williams swung the bat good. And again, another guy deep in the box. This Philly team is way back. So I always found that interesting, and I wonder how many pitchers do that today, young pitchers.
I'll bet you none. Carlos Ruiz hitting at .237.
You say it about Seaver. The staff I played on, the 80s, we were told to do it.
Mel.
Yeah. So maybe something passed down for the '69 team, I'm sure.
It's just the wonderful thing about baseball, I think what's lacking today, is the ex-major leaguers that used to just really be all over the place in coaching staffs, minor leagues, big leagues. They're not there today. And there's Milt Thompson right there, former Philly Brave, left-hand hitter. He was a good hitter.
He was a tough out. Milt faced him many times.
Milt Thompson was an opposite field hitter who could drive it.
Had some speed.
Now the batting coach for the Phillies. Ruiz bounces 1 foul, 3-2.
No, you're talking about Ibanez before being a candidate for the MVP. There's usually a lot of contenders early in the season, then they kind of fall to the wayside to number 5 over there in St. Louis.
That's exactly right, and it certainly is appearing that way again this year, especially with the year the Cardinals are now putting together. Three-two to Ruiz. Hit to left. Sheffield is there. Side retired. Pelfrey gets a 1-2-3. 1-0 Phils. York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Xerox Document Services provider to the Mets. Xerox, ready for real business.
So old Tommy Seaver, getting back to Tom. Tom told me his toughest out was Billy Williams.
Really? How many hits did Billy end up with? About 2,700?
Yeah, you didn't get 3, that's for sure. But
I thought his toughest hitter was Tommy Hutton.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Fernando Tatis leads off the home second with the Mets down 1-0. And he hits one in the air to pretty deep right center field. Back goes Worth onto the track near the wall. Drops the ball. Tatis around second and heading for third. Standing with a triple. Well, Worth got there after a long run, but he couldn't hold it.
Well, I hate to say it, that's a home run at Shea, but that's moot. He didn't get a glove on it.
Thought he did it. My mistake.
It's okay. It was a long run. He checks the wall here, and it's just out of his reach. Yep.
It shows you how good of an outfielder he was to even come close to that ball.
Tatis running out of the box all the way.
Hustles every time, doesn't he, Keith?
Runs well.
Fourth triple of the year for Tatis. Infield back for Murphy, who hits one down the left field line, back toward the corner, and Ibanez can't get to it. It's in the stands. Nothing and 1 to Murphy.
Oh, Murph's got a 6-game hitting streak going for him.
Running that ball out all the way. Infield back, the Phillies conceding the tying run in the second inning. And that'll get the run in. Tatis trots in to score. A 1-1 ball game. Murphy's 41st run batted into the year.
Well, you know what? That is a RBI. It's a run there for the Mets on the hustle of Tatis out of the box. If he didn't hustle out of the box, that would have been a double. But he busted out and scores easily on the infield back. You're going to go on contact, except a ground ball back to the pitcher. And nothing upsets a hitter more with that kind of an RBI situation. You hit a ground ball back to the pitcher.
So tie ball game, and Omir Santos takes ball 1. Santos came off the bench last night to deliver a pinch hit single that got the Mets within a run in the 8th inning against the Braves, but they would get no closer. Good off speed pitch by Hamels, 1-1. Well, that changeup is great.
It is.
It is absolutely a terrific pitch.
Well, he has the big differential. Throws it around 80 miles an hour. Throws his fastball 92, 93. That is perfect.
How would you compare Hamels' changeup to Santana's changeup?
Boy, very interesting. I think Santana's changeup has a little more movement when it's at its best, has a good tailing motion. Hamels gets by. His stuff is more straight. It's just the pitching speed differential, which is the great thing about him. When you watch him go, he will change speeds, got the hitter really back and forth. Watch his motion. He will take those shoulders and tilt them. It's called the rocking motion. One higher than the other. See that elbow almost straight up and down? And then that's how he gets his power to rock towards the plate.
It also hides the ball. Pitcher that does that kind of tilt, as Ronnie said, that lead shoulder, you lose sight and you get a late read, a late pickup out of the hand.
3-2 to Santos. And he fouls it off.
Don Sutton had that, but he was much more, I mean, Hamels has more of a windup like beautiful windup like Doc, like Carlton, which I like that kind. You can get a rhythm off those guys. Sutton had a kind of a herky-jerky and starts and stops. It was very tough to pick up, plus he had great stuff.
Rollins to his left, snags it, but can't make a play. Infield hit for Santos. And the Mets have their 4th hit off Hamels through the first 7 batters.
Well, Rollins got a late break on this ball. I'm learning from you, Gary. I'm not wed to this monitor like I used to be. I just happened to be watching the field there. You learn something new every day. He just didn't get quite the good jump. A little bit of hesitation, and that was the difference and him getting to that ball off the heel.
So Santos aboard with 1 out. Now Anderson Hernandez hitless in his last 9 at bats. For the year, Anderson is hitting .296 from this side of the plate, just .234 left-handed. Getting a chance to play shortstop every day with Alex Cora done for the year. Terry Manuel said tonight, not surprisingly, that he's operating on the assumption that Jose Reyes will not be back this season. And so Hernandez gets himself a full shot at proving what he can do.
Especially from that shortstop position.
Got a chance to play extensively at second base for the Nationals earlier this year.
Well, they talked about, Hamels throwing the 227 innings last year, the big increase, the Tom Verducci, whatever they want to call it, the rule or law. He's throwing hard tonight.
They say it's not his stuff. It is his location, because he's had games that have been out of this world this year, but he's not been able to put them back to back. And
if you add in his postseason innings last year, he's what, over 263 innings? A huge jump from the year before. And with Hamels, it's been consistency more than anything else. I don't want to quite compare him to Mike Pelfrey, but he's been very much one start on and one start off most of the year.
Pitching coach Rich Doobie right there, hidden by the bars.
Hit to center field, and Victorino is there. Santos back to first, 2 out. They're animated, opinionated, and full of attitude. Take a seat at the round table with Jonas Schwartz, Joe Beningo, and the Daily News writers behind the hottest stories as they bring the back pages to life on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, weekdays at 5 only on SNY.
Where's Joe? Where's the Joe doing the dancing?
Joe, you missed that?
The dancing machine.
I think he's feeling a little too much pain. Here's Pelfrey, who has 4 hits in 39 at-bats this year. One of those hits was a double off Cole Hamels earlier this season. That's faced Hamels on the 10th of June and got 4 runs and 11 hits off him in 5 innings. Turned out to be a no decision for Hamels, a game the Phillies won in extra innings.
To put that in comparison, and I'm certainly not going to have half the career that Mr. Hamels is going to have in his career. When I went from 115 in the minor leagues to 205, 248, 260, and in the World Series in '86, I felt stronger than I ever had in my entire career.
Hit hard, just foul.
So I'm thinking sometimes, we fall in love, and everyone can have a guide to number of pitches, this and that, or whatever. And I did play in a different era. But sometimes it's just simply you're not pitching well. It's not about how many pitches you've thrown. He's still throwing 93. Changeups at 80. Must be missing his location.
I still say you pitched the biggest game in the World Series for us.
Oh, and Pelfrey gets drilled by Hamels. And he's disgusted.
Well, we're not going to hit him on purpose, please.
The 2 umpires, Rob Drake and Tim Timmons, both escorting Pelfrey to first base.
Oh, you see Ruiz set up inside. It just got away.
People at home, you say to yourself, well, why is Pelfrey walking down there, getting met? It hurts. It hurts when you get hit. So your first initial reaction is you're just angry. And then you just go down to first base and shake it off.
It's only the second batter that Cole Hamels has hit this season in 24 starts. And you certainly wouldn't expect that there's any intent, unless there's history in there that I'm forgetting.
No, not at all. Mike has been very edgy this year, but particularly the second half of the season.
Well, it provides the Mets with a chance to grab a lead. Moves Santos into scoring position for Pagan. Angel single to left field his first time up after a long turn at bat in which Hamels threw him changeup after changeup. The Angels now hit in 6 straight games. And Hamels falls behind 2-0.
Well, if anything, Hamels is mad at himself right there.
Yeah.
You got a pitcher up there. You're out of the inning. Now you got to throw extra pitches.
Two 2-0 to Pagan. And a changeup for a strike, 2-1. Pagan has hit 3 home runs this year. They've all come as a right-hand batter.
Oh, good pitch.
Here's the first inning single by Pagan.
That was the changeup and had right down the middle.
And Pagan able to get it through the hole on the left side.
Mike Pelfrey getting a big lead at first base. Got to be a little careful with Ruiz behind the plate. He loves to throw that ball around.
Hit up the middle, base hit. Santos around third. They'll score without a throw. Angel Pagan with a 2-out RBI single, and it's 2-1 New York.
Well, another bad location here, Ron.
It's a fastball here, Keith.
Yep.
Wants it inside, right down the middle.
Nice hitting by Pagan. So they make Hamels pay.
After he drilled Pelfrey in the shoulder with a pitch, Hamels has to go one batter further, and Pagan singles home the go-ahead run.
Well, you can see right there the IOTV pitch differential. Way off.
Now Luis Castillo, and he takes a changeup for a strike. Castillo bounced into a double play his first trip. And Luis hitting .321 with runners in scoring position this year. Probably take a pretty good hit to get Pelfrey in, even with 2 out.
Well, if he gets a good secondary lead, he's a good athlete. He can run well, but you get those pitchers on the bases, they don't cut the corners well. That's their problem.
And of course, the other problem with Louis up there is the outfielders aren't playing very deep.
And Worth has a great arm. Victorino also.
Toward the hole, Rollins smothers it, and that keeps the run from scoring. Exactly what they teach infielders to do. With 2 out and a runner at second, make sure you keep it on the infield, and Rollins did.
Well, playing up the middle off Louis there, Rollins. Big hole, Dobbs back, and Dobbs has no shot. Brooks Robinson wouldn't have had a shot there. And does a nice job keeping it on the infield.
So Castillo has his first hit of the night, and that'll bring Gary Sheffield to the plate with the bases loaded. Mets have scored twice in the inning. They've taken a 2-1 lead, and Rich Dubey, the Philly pitching coach, out to the mound to talk to Hamels, who all of a sudden finds himself in what could be a very dangerous situation.
Well, we'll see how the infield plays it here, Gary. Remember to recall in the first inning the check swing base hit to right field by Sheffield. Utley's not going to be playing that much up the middle.
Sheffield's gone 81 at bats without a home run, his longest drought since 2004. This would be a nice time for him to break that. He has 13 career grand slams, and he takes a fastball on the inside edge. We mentioned the stat last night. The Mets as a team with 2 out and the bases loaded, now 4 for 49 on the year. Gary Sheffield said today that he came in today with a better attitude, a fresh mindset, and that he's committed to being here. And he takes that changeup 2-1. He said yesterday he was baffled by the fact that Omar Minaya would not commit to him for next year, and yet pulled him back from a potential waiver deal. But after 24 hours, he decided it's time to play. And now he's got a 3-1 advantage against Hamels.
This is not a spot you want to be in if you're a pitcher.
Cole Hamels beat the Mets the first time he faced them. He hasn't beaten them since. And the Mets have had some good swings against him over the last couple of years. 3-1 to Sheffield. And there's a strike. Gary didn't think so. 3-2.
Fastball away. Oh, yeah, that's a strike.
Yep.
Rob Drake with the call.
I think Gary was looking middle in.
Yeah.
So now the merry-go-round will be in motion. Pelfrey, Pagan, and Castillo will all be running. Struck him out with a changeup. Cole Hamels fans Gary Sheffield, but the Mets grab the lead. Fernando Tatis got it all started with a long triple beyond the reach of Jason Worth in right center. Murphy and Pagan with the RBIs. And if we go to the third, it's 2-1 New York. Than life screen at the Ziegfeld Theater in Midtown Manhattan. Join Mr. Met and fellow Met fans for SNY's live broadcast when the Mets face the Marlins at 7:10 p.m. Get your tickets at Mets.com/movies today. Ronnie, you going to be there? Because Keith and I are going to Florida.
No, I have a little studio work to take care of, boys.
Oh, what a shame. Broken hearts. I love our graphics tonight.
Well, Cole Hamels will lead off against Mike Pelfrey in the third inning after Pelfrey got drilled in the shoulder by Hamels. We'll see what transpires here.
Well, I don't think he's going to hit him. If he does, there'll probably be a fight.
The last time the Mets had a full-fledged fight.
Really? Light years.
Before the inning even started, the home plate umpire Rob Drake came out ostensibly to look at a baseball, but you have to believe there was a message there as well.
He's like, come on, Mike, no monkey stuff now. Let's play the game right. Let's not get crazy and start a fight out here.
Keeps it away from Hamels, and it's 2-1. Hamels has 6 hits this year, hitting $150.
And that's if you have an intent of hitting the pitcher, you go, yes, Mr. Umpire, whatever you say.
Jimmy Rollins on deck, then Shane Victorino. Well, from Pelfrey's perspective, this is a hard enough lineup to negotiate without giving them a free base runner by hitting the pitcher, isn't it?
Well, you know, I mean, you have a chance. You got a lead here. You know, there's going to be other games, and you're going to have another shot at some point. Win the game first is always the first credo.
Struck him out with a fastball. Pelfrey has his 4th strikeout, first time through the batting order.
Good sinker here. We talked about it before. If he's down around the knees, look at the movement he gets away from the bat of the pitcher.
And down.
And down.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jimmy Rollins.
Tell you what, Rollins has got 15 home runs. He's hit for some power this year.
Under the glove of Pelfrey, and Rollins has a base hit.
Number 2 years ago, was it, Gary? Hit 30?
Yep.
And so anything up the middle here is going to be very, very difficult, particularly the right side of the bag. And that's where he hit it. Once it's past Pelfrey, Castillo, no chance.
So a 1-out base runner for the Phillies, and we'll see whether Rollins has larceny on his mind after Utley stole a base in the 1st inning, leading to a run. Rollins has 23 steals this year, 7th in the league. And slide step by Pelfrey misses high.
That was one of W.C. Fields' characters here. Larson E. Whipsnade. Whipsnade? Yes.
Well, what is it that was etched on Mr. Fields' tombstone? Something about better here than Philadelphia?
Right.
Castillo out, and Victorino retired, 2 away. So now Utley will bat. Utley singled to right, stole a base, and scored the Phillies' run in the 1st inning. The Phillies are being chased by the Marlins and the Braves, both of whom started the night 6.5 out, and they are playing each other tonight, Florida and Atlanta. Anibal Sanchez came off the disabled list for the Marlins tonight, held the Braves hitless the first 5 innings. That's 1-0 Florida as they play the 7th. Braves have 1 hit.
Well, we pounded Utley inside predominantly last at bat, and Utley got a base hit on the pitch in. And there he goes, starting him off away. Here you go. You can't pitch a hitter predominantly the same way. I'm sure Ronnie will agree with me.
I think what you'd like is your catcher to go out and say, listen, the last time we went inside, he got a base hit. That ball was more the middle. So we can still pitch inside. Just make sure you pop it in there. If you're going to make a mistake, make it inside.
Rollins got a great jump. Santos' throw is high, and Rollins has a stolen base, his 24th of the year. So the Phillies now 2 for 2 against Pelfrey tonight.
Well, the howitzer right here wouldn't have gotten Rollins. He's easily safe. Oh, he backed up, and then how about that? That's some blazing speed.
Well, they seem to have Pelfrey timed.
Big hole at the shortstop, left side of second base. They're playing the pull for Utley.
Tying run at second with 2 down, 2-0 to Utley.
Big shift.
And now it's 3-0 with Howard on deck.
Here's the base hit. It's a fastball and just kind of bled enough, but still not a bad pitch. Probably need a little bit more upstairs. I think he had too much plate.
The problem I don't like with this defense, Keith, is that Hernandez has to hold the runner close. Gives that regular 4-3 ground ball a hit for Utley.
Ball 4, and now Howard will come up with 2 men on. So Pelfrey issues his first walk of the night, and he really wasn't close with any of them.
To me, watching that exchange between Pelfrey and Utley, and I've talked about it before, now in 19 at-bats, he's got 3 home runs to a guy, Pelfrey, who never gives up home runs. Does not like facing Mr. Utley. Missed 4 times away. Did not set up anything for inside, but now has to face the red-hot Howard.
Who hit a bullet his first time up the middle for an RBI single.
And they pounded him inside early in the count. You see the defense there with that big shift, and then tried to go away around the 4th pitch in the at-bat on a 2-1 count, I believe, and
2-1, yeah.
And Howard went up the middle on a sinker away, up.
And Howard attacks the first one, lines it to Frank Kerr, who stumbles but makes the grab. Just had to steady himself. 2-1 New York. Has asked the booth for tonight. Sam from Bensonhurst wants to know, what can a team take from a heated rivalry when they're out of the race? It's the situation the Mets find themselves in tonight against their hated rival, the Phillies.
Well, you know, you always like, when you're playing the season out and you're playing second division teams, those are tough games. So you always want to play, whether they're rival or not. You like playing the teams where you can play the spoiler role. You'll get up for those ball games.
Well, you know, the Mets have been on the other side of the situation the last couple of years, especially those last weeks of the season the last 2 years, playing the likes of the Nationals and the Marlins, who played them so tough and cost them spots in the postseason the last 2 years. Frank Kerr rips one deep left field, heads to the wall. It's out of here. Jeff Frank Kerr with his 11th home run of the year, a bullet, and it's 3-1 New York. Well, he had just 5 as a Brave. He now has 6 as a Met.
Well, wanted it upstairs, and boy, inner half, belt high, and he covers it, and Frank Kerr just continues hitting the ball wonderfully for the Mets since the coming over from the Braves.
Almost every mistake that he has made has been with the fastball.
But you see Ruiz almost standing up, wanting that pitch up, and it wasn't up enough. Almost got the Gulf side.
You've got to make sure you throw in this pitch head high. That's how high you want it.
And, you know, a guy like Frank Kerr, too, I know it's easy up here, but Frank Kerr is a guy that's always swinging. You cannot, in a fastball hitter, dead fastball hitter, that's the one pitch you don't want to make a mistake with.
Tatis tripled to right center beyond the reach of Jason Worth and scored the first Met run. So the Mets hitting Hamels hard again. And this has been the pattern with Hamels the last couple of years. Hamels won his first start against the Mets back in '06, but in 6 starts since then, he's 0-3 with a 5.14 ERA against the Mets, and more of the same tonight. And Tatis gets hit by a pitch. That was a changeup from Hamels. Second batter he's hit tonight. He had hit only 1 batter all season before tonight.
You know, it reminds me of a little bit, as Gary, good call on the changeup inside. And the ball just never, ever cut. See that grip? That's a changeup, and kind of came out of his hand, moving towards Tatis, the opposite of moving away usually from the left-handed changeup. Reminds me a lot of Doc Gooden when he called out the Pittsburgh Pirates as a Little League franchise that one year, and he could never beat them again. Well, we know that Mr. Hamels had a couple of, well, he had only one real choice word, and that's plagued him this season.
Well, Daniel Murphy grounded out to drive in a run his first time up. One and one to Murph, who started the night with a 6-game hitting streak. Holding against Tatis, who has 3 steals this year. This is the first time that Murphy has ever faced Hamels. He's never been in the lineup against him before. Now getting a chance to play every day against left-handers and right-handers. You see the recent numbers for Hamels against the Mets, and especially interesting the home runs, considering the Mets have not been a home run hitting team. In fact, starting the night tonight, the Phillies had exactly 100 more home runs this season than the Mets. Phillies started the night with 171 home runs. The Mets with 71.
Two absolutely complete opposite ballparks. You've got the spacious city, and Utley's coming in to have a little chat with Hamels, and it looks like Hamels now is just really trying to find it.
Yeah, 2 Southern California kids having a little chat here to try to get Hamels on the straight and narrow.
Let me ask you a question, Ronnie, because it's going to come up as we push toward the postseason. You got Hamels, who has slogged his way through this entire season after the great year and the great postseason last year. And now they have Cliff Lee, who's gotten off to a rollicking start. As Murphy drives one toward right center field. Worth won't get this one. Hops against the wall. Tatis races for third and pulls in there. A double for Murphy. It's second and third and nobody out.
Well, again, a fastball here by Cole Hamels, and that's just middle. I don't care how hard you throw. If you're throwing the ball there and it's up, these big league hitters are going to hit it hard. Straight as an arrow.
That's a fat pitch right there. And again, Phillies have always been a team that, particularly Ward, likes to play a little bit shallow, and they've been burned twice.
If I start the postseason tomorrow, to answer your question, Cliff Lee is my first pitcher out of the block. Absolutely.
Let me ask you another question about Hamels. He threw, I think, 1, maybe 2 curveballs in the first inning. Haven't seen it since.
Well, that's his problem. We're talking to people in Philadelphia, is that he has the A+ fastball, he has the A+ changeup, but for him to make the adjustment into his 3rd and 4th year, he's going to have to be able to throw that curveball. Yep. Now, he doesn't have to get people out with it, but he's got to at least have that pitch to throw for a strike anytime he wants it. But when he gets there, then he'll be tough all the time.
Well, he's got the fastball and the changeup. He's straight with it. The 2 identical pitches just off speed. He's got to throw more curveballs. He's got a good one.
So now a big chance for the Mets. Already up 3-1, 2 in scoring position, nobody out. And the Phillies so confident in their offense that down by 2 runs, they're playing the infield back. Santos had an infield hit his first time up. 5 hits in his last 9 at bats now. And the changeup blocked by Ruiz, 1-1. You see the lifetime record for Hamels. Keep in mind when we're talking about Hamels, he was born 18 days before Mike Pelfrey. So they're virtually the same age. And you look what Hamels has already accomplished. 45 wins and a World Series ring. Santos pops one in foul ground. Howard trying to get there. And he got it. Tagging at third, Tatis coming in. He scores. Hamels backs up the play to keep Murphy from scoring. Great base running by Fernando Tatis to steal a run, and it's 4-1 New York.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's a wonderful sac fly. You got to take, if you're Santos, you take Tatis out to dinner. Now, what Tatis does a nice job here. It's in foul territory. Go and tag up. Now, watch Howard. Instead of catching the ball and throwing it, he looks first to see if the runner scores. You don't have to look. You catch that ball and throw it home. And that's the little bit that, it's a bad throw, but that's the little bit of difference that between getting the guy out or not.
Hamels just tried an appeal, but they said that he had to step off to appeal, so they'll try it again. And the third base umpire, Mark Wegner, says that Tatis did not leave too early.
And nicely done by Murph tagging up.
After this play, all this kind of mumble jumble here, great time to do a suicide squeeze on his first pitch.
Anderson Hernandez, a good bunter at the plate. 4-1 New York. The infield has to come in with one out. And Hernandez fouls it off.
So this ball's in foul territory. It's a matter of whether he catches it or not. Very nicely done tagging up.
Murph's hesitation was just to make sure that Tatis
is going right. You don't want to run him off the bag.
And from Howard's perspective, do you think that he forgot that there was a runner at third, or do you think he just hesitated too much?
I don't think he forgot. Remember, he bumped into the stand, so it kind of disconcerts him a little bit.
His mistake is he makes a nice play right there. He looks. Don't look. You got that ball. You got to figure that someone's going to try to tag up there. Just get the ball and get rid of it.
So the Mets with a 4-1 lead, looking for more here with Murphy at third and one out. And Hernandez takes a strike on the outside edge, 0-2.
And Keith, you can attest to this more than I can. When you catch a ball down there, that is a throw that you never work on. You never work on a throw throwing from almost in the grandstands throwing home. Sometimes you lose the angle.
He dropped his arm angle too instead of coming over the top.
Well, he's never been a very accurate thrower. We've seen him throw a lot of balls away on double play balls.
And Hernandez strikes out on the changeup. There's a big out for Hamels, his third strikeout.
Well, here's the play on another angle. That's a nice play, by the way, to make the out. Okay, he rights himself. He's got to go reach for the glove right now. Don't look. Too late. That's the difference.
Lucky his momentum didn't take him into the stands. Who'd have taken those two girls out like bowling pins?
If you catch a ball and then fall into the stands, it's an automatic advance for the base runner. Here's Pelfrey. And he takes a strike. Pelfrey was hit by a pitch his first time up and was angered by it.
Well, he took one for the team. Also, he got another run out of it. Yeah, well, you know.
It's a nice glare. Good changeup, and it's 0-2. Country boy from Wichita's adopted a little big city attitude.
Works well in this town, Gary, I'll tell you.
On the outside corner, strike three call. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hamels, but the Mets add two. We'll be back in just a moment. First, here's Matt Cerrone from MetsBlog.com at the Verizon studio for a quick update on what the fans are thinking. Mike Pelfrey now has a 3-run lead as we go to the 4th inning. And Cole Hamels getting a little talking to from his pitching coach.
Well, I'll tell you, been there before. You're completely lost, and you need a pitching coach that's going to really be so proactive and really kind of lead you through this maze that you're going through right now where you can't find the opening to get out. And Rich Doobie, of course, real detailed talking to.
A lecture.
4 runs and 8 hits off Hamels tonight. So now Pelfrey trying to protect that lead, and Jason Worth takes a slider for a strike. Worth struck out his first time up. One of 4 strikeouts for Pelfrey first time through the batting order. Keep in mind, Pelfrey hasn't struck out more than 6 in a game this year.
You know, they call this game the great pastime. Keith and I will agree, won't you, Keith, that you'd also call it the great humbler. Because it just doesn't matter how good you are.
What says you're reading the book?
Not keeping you well enough entertained.
My goodness. How can you concentrate? I got to have complete silence when I read.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's Noah Roberts. Slow grinder for Hernandez to handle. And he retires Worth 1 away. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
We showed him a little bit before. Pedro Martinez back in town, of course, as a Philly. And I talked to him today, and I asked him about why he came back. I mean, why at this point? And of course, it's a tough year for him last year off the field. He lost his father, and he said earlier this year, you know, after the World Baseball Classic, I was home with my family, with my mom, and I got used to that, and I was comfortable with that. And I said, well, why change that? He said, well, it took me back to a conversation I had with my dad just before he passed, and I was by his bedside. And I asked him if he wanted me to stay home or go play baseball. And he couldn't really answer me. So I asked him again, should I stay home? And he said no. And I said, should I play baseball? And he got out a yes. And he said, so that really got to me. And he said, the other thing is, to be honest with you, as I thought of those words, I just felt that with me feeling the way I did last year, with the ending the way it did at Shea, I was not happy with that, with the way the team did or I did. And quite honestly, I didn't feel it was the way a pitcher like me should go out. So kind of the competitor in Pedro as well, guys, just wanted to go out again on his own terms a little bit. Now he's got a chance to go out with a World Series ring if everything plays out the right way. Back to you.
And he'll pitch here on Sunday in the 3rd game of this series. It's no secret that Pedro's first preference would have been to return to the Mets and finish what he thought was unfinished business. He had some very interesting things to say today about that.
Well, I think he wanted to come back to the Mets. These are Pedro's words. He said that he talked to Omar and looked him in the eye and said, listen, I am healthy. But, you know, if you don't believe me, watch me in the World Baseball Classic, and you can make a decision. Well, he pitched 6 innings in that Classic, and he was outstanding. And as he was watching the Mets in spring training, he thought that at some point they were going to, you know, inquire if he still had interest in playing. That never came. And he said he was watching TV, and I don't know if it was our broadcast or another broadcast, where Jerry Manuel, the manager, said we have enough pitching. Jerry was asked if they needed Pedro as Ibanez grounds out to Castillo. Almost throws it widely, but Murphy makes the play. And Pedro said, hear Jerry say we have enough pitching. I don't think we have any need for Pedro. And when he heard that, he wrote the Mets off and then thought about other teams.
At the same time, he said he let some offers pass, waiting for the Mets to make an offer. However, in fairness, Pedro was also asking for, you know, a $5 million contract in spring training from all the reports. Wound up signing for $1 million for a half a season with the Phillies, so he had to kind of back down a little bit. And you can imagine that there was some pride involved there. After all, he's Pedro Martinez.
That's right. Well, I think the other comment, which was great from Kevin, is that, you know, Pedro is a king. He's royalty in baseball, and he wants to go out in a royal way. And he has a chance here with this Philadelphia team.
Greg Dobbs up with 2 out. And Pelfrey ahead of him 0-2. Carlos Ruiz on deck. Phillies got their run in the first inning off Pelfrey. Took a 1-0 lead, but the Mets now up 4-1 in the 4th. Dobbs getting the start tonight. Terrific numbers against Pelfrey. There's Jamie Moyer out in the bullpen. a role he has accepted reluctantly.
He's an old pro.
Hit sharply, and a base hit for Dobbs. Over in the gap goes Pagan to cut it off, bobbles it, but Dobbs had already committed himself to stopping, and he's on at first with 2 out.
Well, you bring, and you see Castillo likes to play a little bit shade of the pull here, and not a chance there. Ball hit too hard, and Dobbs is a pull hitter. You know, but getting back to Moyer, Moyer handled that situation. He was not happy going into the bullpen. He handled it like a pro. And ironically, this is Pedro's second start.
Tuesday night.
Yes, it got rain delayed. Pedro pitched 3. Moyer came in and did 6 scoreless and got the win.
It's amazing, huh? Ruiz hits one up the middle. Nice stop by Hernandez. And Castillo able to grab the flip for the final out of the inning. 4-1 New York. Manuel forced to take Greg Dobbs out of the game. He had gone out to his position, but clearly was not moving well, and so Dobbs, who was getting a rare start tonight, has to leave, and Pedro Feliz will come in to replace him at third base.
Well, Feliz was hoping to just have a chill out night, and here he is. He's in there.
Well, you know, he was ready to play because if the Phillies had a lead late, you knew he was going to be in there for defense, so he's just a little early in the 4th inning. Angel Pagan will lead things off. Pagan working on a big night already. Singled in the first, singled again in the second to drive in a run. Angels now hit in 6 straight games. That's with 8 hits against Hamels over the first 3 innings. And now starting the 3rd time around the batting order.
Very interesting. 89-mile-an-hour fastball. That tells me Hamels going to try to error now on location, not on trying to throw the ball by the hitters. Nice down and away fastball.
71 pitches already for Hamels. And he's thrown 52 strikes in those 71 pitches, so it hasn't been a matter of throwing strikes, just a matter of locating the pitches within the strike zone where he wants. Pagan rolls one down to Feliz, who gets involved quickly. 1 away. Well, we were talking about Pedro Martinez, and we figured you'd want to hear from Pedro himself, talking about his legacy and not wanting to leave on a down note.
That I left this place last year. Well, not this one. Shea Stadium. I left Shea. My beloved Shea. In a sad way, you know. Not only we lost, but we lost in a bad way. I didn't perform like I wanted to for the Mets, and it wasn't kind of like the way that a pitcher like me should have gone away.
Guy who's heading to the Hall of Fame when he's eligible. This was his last start at Shea when he knew that in all probability he would not be coming back. Castillo hits one toward the hole. Rollins with a running throw and a hop, and Howard can't handle it. An infield hit for Castillo. Another two-hit game for Louis.
Well, nice play by Rollins here. Nice backhand. Knows he has to hurry the throw. Let's look at Howard here. Tough in-between hop. A little bit too much of a sweep there, and he got a little underneath, so I got on the tip of his glove.
Tell me about the sweep, Keith. When is that a good play, and when is it not?
Well, you always want to stride when you do your stretch towards the ball, and you always do your stretch towards the ball. And then a backhand's different than a forehand. And he's too loose with it, and you want to always start. I mean, he just mistimed it, really. He came up too quickly. We've all done that. But the backhand's harder than the if you can do with the glove face open, because you can use your body also to and your throwing hand to help you out also.
Why do you want to sweep rather than just have that backhand low and come up with it?
Well, he was a little bit loose with it, a little bit loose. But he had the proper technique. He just mistimed it. It's a in between hops always the ones you don't want to get, because you've got to make a decision whether it's going to stay low or go high. You know, the short hop, it's boom boom. Long hop, it's nice. You can easy read. And all the infielders always want to give you that long hop, and I'm sure that's what Rollins was attempting.
Well, Howard unquestionably has improved his fielding greatly since the last couple of years. Sheffield hits one to short, should be two. Rollins to Utley, and on to first for the 6-4-3 double play. Second one hit into by the Mets tonight. Still 4-1 New York. Carpenters and contractors. Here's Kevin.
You know, Garrett, when they built this ballpark, they made it a green place, and I mean more than the seats. It's green for a lot of different reasons. First of all, I'll give you a couple. On top of the administrative building out in the outfield, 10,000 square feet of green on top of that, so it reduces the water runoff with the grass out there. It's also very energy efficient. Also, they irrigate the field with an on-site well, so which is obviously useful there. So there's a well here at Citi Field. That's what they use to water the field every day as Hamels bats here for the Phillies. And then waterless urinals, and you wouldn't think that's a big deal, but it saves 4 million gallons of water a year. So all those little things they did when they built Citi Field certainly adding up. Green ballpark. Nice job, guys.
Well, not only fan friendly, but friendly to the environment as well.
Well, this is landfill here, and that's a terrific idea as far as utilizing a well to draw from the natural water underground. That's a terrific idea.
The aquifer.
Yes, that's right.
Pelfrey ahead 1-2 on Hamels. Strike 3 call. 5 strikeouts for Pelfrey, and has retired the leadoff hitter in every inning so far.
Oh, that's just a four-seamer that he just throws right down the middle to Hamels.
So rather than throwing at Hamels to get revenge for getting hit himself, he has struck Hamels out twice. Now Rollins is 1 for 2, singled up the middle and stole a base in the third. Mets have out hit the Phillies 9-4 tonight. See the HK above the I in Phillies, honoring the late Harry Callis, legendary Phillies broadcaster, as Rollins lines out to Hernandez for the second out. And during every game they hang Harry's powder blue jacket in the dugout. Harry used to wear that powder blue jacket and white shoes. That was his trademark. He was a wonderful man who could not have been nicer to everybody who passed through his life. And there is the circle honoring Harry's memory.
Oh, I remember. I miss Harry, and you know, Philadelphia has the wonderful press box there, and they have a room for the announcers to go in with computers to do their homework. And we always would go in after a game, and Harry would be in there, and we'd have a conversation with Harry after every game, and I miss that.
And you know, it is never easy to replace a legend. And our old friend Tom McCarthy has done a brilliant job this year of stepping in to Harry's enormous shoes and done a great job as the Phillies lead announcer. Ball 4, and Victorino's on with a 2-out walk. There's Tom, dressed in Phillies black.
They have a black jersey now, like a polo.
They like the fabric.
Tom, of course, spent a couple of years as a Mets radio voice before going back to Philadelphia.
One of the nicest guys in the game, easily.
He's wondering why we have him on TV.
I also remember that Harry is the voice of the National Football League, Campbell's Soup.
NFL Films, yeah. A wonderful, distinctive, growling voice. Here's Chase Utley, who has singled and walked tonight.
Boy, Utley didn't like that call. I thought it was low.
Utley walked on 4 pitches his last time up.
Utley's unflappable. He's got that easy demeanor.
Victorino always a threat to run. And Utley lifts one to left. Sheffield has it lined up. And the side retired. 5 strong innings for Pelfrey. 4-1 New York. Gee. Post-game show. It's 30 minutes devoted to the latest happenings in New York sports on Geico Sports Night tonight after the post-game and at 1 a.m. right here on SNY. Jeff Francoeur leads off the home fifth inning. This is now an official game. Delayed an hour and 16 minutes at the start by rain. There's a little rain coming up through central New Jersey right now. So it's now official. Francoeur drilled a home run his last time up. This time fouls went off the right side. It's 1-1.
Well, fastball, wanted it up, and guess what? He did not get it up. He got it right in the wheelhouse.
That was not a good hack. 1-2.
Well, Jeff can, when he gets full, he can take some ugly hacks.
Here's your AT&T high-speed pitch. Hamels at 95, Pelfrey at 96. Pelfrey with the 4-1 lead. 2-2 now to Francoeur with Tatis and Murphy to follow for the Mets in the bottom of the fifth. Hit hard, the base hit for Francoeur. He was second of the night. Boy, the Mets have hit some balls awfully hard against Hamels tonight.
Been on the fastball, too.
That is 10 hits for New York. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico, by Burger King, and by Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds, starring Brad Pitt, in theaters today. I heard Tarantino interviewed on NPR today.
Yeah.
He's talking about rewriting history.
He's a man. He's a piece of work.
Just a different World War II, you know?
Yep.
Here's Tatis, who's tripled and been hit by a pitch. He said, my characters write their own lines. I just go in and clean it up.
Gary, that's funny. I heard him on Howard Stern, and I think we probably heard two different interviews.
I bet that's true. One and one to Tatis. Who do you listen to in the morning, Ronnie?
I don't listen to too much radio in the morning. I'm more of a book, newspaper guy. I still like to physically get the newspapers and read them.
I do, too.
I know a lot of people don't do that anymore.
Go cross-eyed looking at that monitor in the morning.
Nothing like ink on your hands. There's the 1-1. Good change up by Hamels, 1-2. Well, the thing is, you can read the newspaper online, but to do the crossword puzzle, you have to have paper.
Kev, what do you do in the morning?
I'm not a big, for the most part, radio listener or TV watcher early. I'm the same with you guys. I still like to have the coffee and flip through the paper. There's nothing like it. I mean, my eyes do bug out, Keith, so there's some validity to that statement if you look at the monitor too long.
And Tatis down swinging. 5 strikeouts for Hamels. That's the first out in the bottom of the fifth.
So I think this has really been the problem, hasn't it, for the Phillies and Cole Hamels. He'll go at certain hitters and you say to yourself, boy, he's locked in. You know, fastball away for a strike. Good changeup. Fastball again. Nice changeup here with a lot of movement.
Got synced.
Yeah. And then he'll go on a spree where he'll give up 3 or 4 bullets in a row. And that's something that hasn't happened to his career up until this year.
Hey, look at Murphy. He got his average up to 255.
Grounded out to drive in a run in the second, and then he drilled a double to right center in the third. And so Murph's now hit in 7 straight games.
Murph's been down in that 240 area. He's got it down. You can see the defense right now. They got to play him pretty much straight away. Slight shade to the opposite field.
Francoeur runs. Ruiz's throw. And did he get him? Oh, he tagged him. I thought he missed him.
He did miss him.
Mark Wegner on the 3-man umpiring crew making the call at second base.
Well, let's take a look. Let's see. Oh, he didn't even tag him.
Not even close.
It didn't look like it was close.
He didn't get him.
No, not even close.
That's the phantom tag.
I mean, how bad an angle could he have had? I mean, there was so much daylight between the glove and the helmet. And there he gets himself run. You knew he wanted to get thrown out there. That's just a terrible call.
Well, the only way you can call this play is if you see contact between the shortstop and the runner. The way to call this play incorrectly, as you should see the Coors Light freeze cam, is that you assume that Rollins slapped the tag, which he never did.
Here's the thing. The only place he possibly could have tagged him was on the helmet, and his helmet didn't move an inch. How could Wender think that he saw a tag?
The beat goes on for this umpiring on the bases this year. Just
wow. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
He's getting it from the fans, too.
2 out and nobody on. Murphy fouls it off, and it's 1-2. That could be a huge stolen base. Yeah, I mean, the Mets have a 3-run lead. They're looking to create some space here against a great offensive team. So Sandy Alomar Sr. will run the team along with Dan Worthen, with Jerry having been ejected. Two from Hamels. Struck him out. Got him with a changeup. 6 strikeouts now for Hamels. And a big boo for Mark Wegner. Here's your 6th inning recap. Mike Pelfrey pitching extremely well for his 2nd straight start. Jeff Francoeur with a home run. Cole Hamels, first time in his career he's hit 2 batters in a game, including Pelfrey once. And the Mets with a 4-1 lead as we go to the 6th.
Well, Pelfrey cost him an extra run. 4-1's a lot different than 3-1, obviously.
It'll be Ryan Howard, Jason Worth, and Raul Ibanez for the Phillies in the 6th. Pelfrey with 76 pitches through 5 innings.
Is that a comic strip hero or what?
I believe he's aspiring in that direction. Howard drove in the only Philly run with a 1st inning single, then lined out hard to right field. And he takes a curveball for a strike, 1-1.
Boy, I like that pitch. You know, you miss with the ball, you throw that little get me over curveball. Every hitter has to take that because you can't look for it off Pelfrey.
That's a pitch that Pelfrey arrived in the big leagues with and was taken away from him.
I came to the big leagues also. I had a curveball and with the Texas Rangers, and they made me throw a slider, and it definitely retarded my progress.
Change-up bounce foul.
When I came up in the early 80s, after 1981, the slider was the pitch. That was the big pitch that everyone threw. So they took away the curveball, ended up throwing a slider. It was awful, and took a beating for about a year and a half until the Mets allowed me to throw it again.
Well, Rick Peterson's figuring was that because Pelfrey was a sinker ball pitcher, that the slider worked better as a complement than the curveball did. Then when Dan Worthington took over, he gave Mike back his curve, which he only throws occasionally.
That's what makes it so effective. You don't see it very often.
Hit hard. Castillo can't get it. And a base hit for Howard.
Well, a nice at bat for Ryan there after getting a little chin music there. Comes right back and gets a rip. Hitters always love that.
He's going to hurt someone on the field tonight. I mean, those 3 bullets he's hit.
You see Louis with that in-between hop. Yeah, we couldn't get to it. What a bullet.
It's so strange for infielders when they're playing back there, too. It's almost like they don't have the right rhythm of how to field a ball.
It's a good point, and they're not used to being on grass and moving on grass. It's a difference between getting a break off of grass as opposed to on the dirt.
Now Jason Worth. Oh, and he gets hit.
Is there going to be a warning here? No, there shouldn't be.
Worth goes right to first base. Hamels has hit 2 batters tonight, including Pelfrey. And now Worth gets struck, and that's big because it gets the tying run to the plate for the Phillies.
And this is the innings right here where Pelf. Oh, I got him on the hand. Did you get him on the hand, Ron?
It looked like it did, but it might have caught a little bit of the end of the bat also.
Hand.
Boy.
Yep.
Wonder if he has. See that wristband?
Yep.
Wonder if he has a nice, kind of solid wristband. He does. That saved him an injury right there. Look at that.
That's it. Look at that. That's a nice little pad.
It's the difference between being on first with no pain or maybe out for the season.
You can put a cell phone in there.
You would.
It would be broken now. 7th batter Pelfrey has hit this year.
Well, this is the inning when Pelf kind of gets in trouble. 5th, 6th inning. So let's see how he navigates here.
Well, a dangerous hitter, but a guy who has been ice cold steps in. Ibanez tonight struck out and grounded out 4 for his last 35. Tying run at the plate in a 4-1 game. And Pelfrey misses badly with that sinker, ball 1.
I really thought that Ibanez had the statement at bat for the Phillies against the Mets this year when Ken Takahashi was brought in to face him with their bases loaded, and with one swing of the bat, 4 runs.
Well, I think also the Phillies made a huge statement in that series where the Mets were
into left center field. Sheffield drifting over. And Howard did not tag. He stays at second. 1 out. Time to check in with Chris Carlin. He's standing by for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. That's 20 home runs now for LaRoche. And he's hit 7 of them in just 18 games with the Braves. Now Pedro Feliz up for the first time. Took over for Greg Dobbs at third base. Takes a slider for a strike. Dobbs left with what was called a right calf strain after getting a base hit in the 4th inning. So Feliz, the regular third baseman, taking over, and Feliz having a fine year, hitting at .279. Back-to-back sliders from Pelfrey, and it's 1-1. Howard at second, Worth at first, and 1 out. Got it on his hands, and it's 1-2.
nice crowd. It is from Met fans.
Those are some great smiles.
Pretty in pink.
Pelfrey looking for the double play grounder. Up the middle. Hernandez can't get it. Ripped on it. That'll bring in Howard. Late throw to third by Pagan. That was a silly play. Didn't cost him. But now it's a 4-2 Met lead. Looked like Hernandez was going to get to that ball, and it just went by his glove.
I thought he took his eye off the ball here before he caught it. He looked at the bag, make the running tag. Because Castillo's going to go for the ball, so he's not at the bag. And got to make the play first. And Pagan, that's just not in no chance at all to throw the run around, even if he comes up clean. It's nice base running. He just didn't get to it.
The problem was the angle of the ball was taking him away from second, and he tried to go to second, and when he closed the gap, he did not get to the base.
Should have taken a deeper angle to the ball.
Get the out.
Tying runs on base for Ruiz, who gets jammed and pops it up. Murphy coming over, but he runs out of room.
Well, this is a big sacrifice fly right here to close it to one-run ball game. See what Pelf needs a double play.
Ruiz tonight is 0 for 2. Ben Francisco has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter for the Phillies. Francisco was the throw-in in the deal that brought the Phillies Cliff Lee, and he's done a fine job since coming over from the Indians.
Surprised he's out there and not Mr. Stairs.
Well, it's early.
Yeah.
I think they saved Stairs for late, especially with the Mets having only one lefty in the bullpen. Squeeze! But a safety squeeze, but nobody covering first, and everybody's safe.
Oh, no.
Castillo did not cover first base. Pelfrey had nobody to throw to, and the bases are loaded. It was a safety squeeze.
Well, there's Louis, top of your screen. Pelfrey fields the ball. He can't score, and there's no one. You're right. You're absolutely right.
It's interesting, Castillo was waving to Murphy to get back, but Murphy had already committed.
Well, Pelfrey had a play at third base easily, but chose not to make that throw.
The second time or the first?
First time.
I just think that the Mets got caught falling asleep. That was the last. I didn't expect a safety squeeze.
Now Francisco bats with the bases loaded and one out and takes high for ball one.
Look, clearly Castillo's back there and did not break on the bunt immediately. Look at down the line there. Worth.
That's an easy play.
He comes up throwing, but you know, it's one of those freak plays, and Pelfrey does the.
Even after he looked to first base, he had a second chance at Worth off third. Francisco pops it up. Infield fly rule will be called. The batter is out, and there's a huge out for Mike Pelfrey. 2 out.
Do you think that Charlie Manuel should have just brought, with the bases loaded, one out, brought Francisco back in the dugout and put Stairs up?
And like Gary said, they try to keep Stairs late, but boy, sometimes you can win a game early instead of late.
They do have another left-handed bat on the bench, but that's their backup catcher, Paul Bacco. Brian Stokes up in the bullpen. Pelfrey up to 93 pitches working in the 6th inning. Big out. It would be huge if he can limit the damage to 1 run in this inning.
You got to watch out. Jimmy Rollins loves to look for that ball in. He's been pounded in. Likes to look for that ball in first pitch.
Rollins 1 for 3 tonight. Bases loaded, 2 out. And he takes the fastball high. To Rollins. There's a strike. 95 for Pelfrey, 1-1.
Jimmy hit a bullet in his last at-bat, made it out to the shortstop. So anything away, he's seeing very good right now. And Pelfrey countering by trying to pitch him in.
General Park up in the bullpen for the Phils with Hamels out of the game. 1-1. 2 balls and a strike to Rollins.
Yep.
There's a critical pitch, and you see Feliciano getting up.
They got the big left-handed bats. Behind Rollins is the switch hitting Victorino, then come Utley and Howard.
This is a key pitch right here. Advantage hitter with the bases loaded.
Rollins pops it up. Anderson Hernandez calling. Side retired. Here's a big job by Mike Pelfrey to limit the damage to a single run. 4-2 New York.
The ticker tape pours down on Broadway. Sophisticated New Yorkers go crazy over the amazing Mets. It's beautiful. It's incredible. And it's true.
True indeed. 40th anniversary of the 1969 World Championship Mets, and the Mets will be honoring that team tomorrow night here at Citi Field. Here's your Aflac trivia question. Of the 21 Met players who participated in the 69 World Series, who was the only one with prior World Series experience? That is a fantastic question. Mike Pelfrey negotiated a very rough inning in the top of the 6th. Got a couple of pop-ups from Francisco and Rollins to strand the bases loaded. Now Chan-Ho Park comes out of the Phillies bullpen.
And Chan-Ho Park having an outstanding season so far out of that bullpen. The high ERA, but look at those strikeouts, averaging over 10 strikeouts as a reliever.
How about that?
A Casey Stengel jersey. Vintage. Well, replica anyway.
Yes, semi.
Of course, in those days, the Mets did not have names on the backs of their jerseys. Casey managed the Mets from '62 through part of 1965. Omir Santos bounces one toward third, a foul ball. Santos tonight had an infield hit and scored a run in the 2nd, then had a foul pop-up in the 3rd that Howard caught and Tatis tagged and scored to make it a sacrifice fly.
Now that's an old Met jersey. Back in the days when they didn't have any names in the back.
Down to third for Phillies to handle. And Santos retired, one away. I'll get to Citi Field tomorrow night. The pregame ceremony celebrating the 40-year anniversary of the '69 Miracle Mets. The series with the Phillies continuing at 7:10. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Here's Anderson Hernandez. Anderson 0 for 2, flied out and struck out, the only Met who hasn't reached base tonight. By the way, on that Ruiz bunt, where the Mets did not make a play in the last inning, they're going to score that a sacrifice and a fielder's choice, not a base hit for Ruiz.
That should be a fielder's choice. I don't see
how to play.
Why would it be a sacrifice?
Because running from first to second, he would have gotten there regardless. Off the glove of Ruiz, and it's 1-1 to Hernandez. Well, another big night for the Mets against Cole Hamels. The last time they faced him on the 10th of June, they got 4 runs and 11 hits off him. Tonight they get 4 runs and 10 hits in 5 innings. No walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 hit batters, and a home run. By the way, the Philly pitching staff has now gone 32 consecutive innings without issuing a walk. They went the entire series against Arizona without walking a single batter. That's amazing.
It is amazing. And you'd like to see that in their ballpark. There's pitching coach Rich Doobie. He can be proud of that. To have your team and playing in the ballpark they play in have reinstated that you cannot walk people. And they've been great the last 4 games.
In there for a call, strike 3. Hernandez down looking. So Parks retired his first 2 hitters.
Oh, great movement. This is the 2-seamer from Park. He'll throw right at the hitter, left-handed hitter's hip, and that ball just go right back over the really outer half. Up in the strike zone, though.
Well, Jeremy Reed is going to bat for Mike Pelfrey. Mike's thrown only 97 pitches, but he had a rough 6th inning, worked his way through it, and he's being pulled in favor of Reed, who takes ball 1. I'm a little surprised by that. Are you?
Yes. How many pitches?
97. Pedro Feliciano getting ready for the big left-handed bats due to hit in the 7th.
Well, you want to get through that middle, the left-hand hitters, the big boys. So there's the philosophy behind that. And you hope that you don't put 2 more innings after that. You don't get to them again.
And I know that we all talk about this all the time, how the game has changed. But Pelfrey just got 2 enormous outs to end the 6th inning. Why wouldn't you let him start the 7th?
And you think you'd have some great momentum working in the in that 7th inning. What the manager is telling you is that he lacks enough confidence and you go the 4th time through the lineup. I guess that's what he's telling you.
Now the question is the manager making the call, or the bench coach who's taking over for him, or the pitching coach?
Yeah, whoever's making the decision.
Managers still manage up there in that clubhouse.
Yeah.
Jerry Manuel ejected in the 5th inning on the phantom caught stealing of Jeff Francoeur. 3-1 to Reed, and he takes a cut and fouls it back.
And and other than Victorino, Utley has done the bat very well against Mike tonight, and Howard is probably taking the best at bats of anyone in the game.
And that's got to factor in as well, right? Three-2, and he walked him. So there is the end of the walkless streak for the Philadelphia pitching staff, as Chan-Ho Park issues a 2-out walk to Jeremy Reed. They have gone 32 consecutive innings without issuing a walk. Now Angel Pagan, who has 2 hits and has driven in a run tonight. By the way, this is of interest, talking about 1969. 40 years ago tonight, something that I don't think ever happened any other time in his career. Tom Seaver walked 7 batters in 7 innings against the Giants. Bouncing ball for Utley to handle. Pagan retired to end the inning. Seaver walked 7?
Wow.
Exhibition battles and exclusive interviews as Gang Green gears up for the 09 season. There's a place for that. SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Here's your upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. And if you're in the car, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Big 69 celebration tomorrow night. Sunday afternoon, Monday afternoon, concluding the homestand against the Phillies. Then the Mets go to Florida, Chicago, and Denver. Shane Victorino leads off in the 7th inning against Pedro Feliciano. And perpetual Pedro misses outside.
That's Pedro's numbers. He's here, of course, to turn Victorino around and try to handle the left-handers Utley and Howard.
He has got great numbers against all three of these hitters.
And you know what's a real testament to Pedro? Is that he faces these guys, it seems, every single game. So they see plenty of him.
Well, he's added a little wrinkle this year with that cutter he's throwing. Fastball fouled off. Victorino is 3 for 20 against Feliciano. Utley is 5 for 28. That's 179. And Howard is 4 for 27. That's 148.
Pedro's very tough on lefties, that's for sure.
The only problem, Utley, I think, has a couple bombs off him.
Yes, Gary? And Howard has 1. And he gets Victorino swinging. 1 out.
A couple changeups away, a cutter in, and again, that circle changeup grip. Nice shot there. And just turns it over, and that ball never gets there. It also has a nice fade away from the strike zone. This is not a good swing by Victorino, but it's because of the pitch.
It's pulled completely.
So 1 out in the 7th. Now Chase Utley, who's singled, stolen a base, scored a run, 1 for 2. And he takes a fastball for a strike at 90 from Feliciano. Brian Stokes up in the bullpen.
Feliciano and Stokes hoping to hand it off to K-Rod.
Right back to Feliciano, kicks it toward the line and can't make a play. Well, Feliciano fields his position so well, most pitchers wouldn't have been in position to even touch that ball.
You know, it's a strange way, though, Gary. In this kind of defense, this is where you want him to let it go.
Yes,
but if
exactly.
it right to the fielder.
Absolutely.
But you can't have that kind of reaction. You try to make the play.
And he's in such great position.
This is perfect fielding position. Glove down, ready for the baseball.
Skate save, and then off the left thigh.
You'd always have one of your teammates tell you, what, why don't you tape your glove to your ankle? You would. If you get out of the inning with a 0.
Did you ever say that to Wally Whitehurst?
Wally Whitehurst. He's the human target.
That man had more seams on his thighs than any pitcher I've ever seen. Great guy, but he was a baseball magnet.
Well, he was a ground ball machine. And they would just, he spent most of the time on the outer part, and they would just hit ground balls up the middle all game long.
He was the pitcher in the 9th inning in Philadelphia who gave up all the hits that led to Bob Murphy saying the Mets win the damn thing.
Oh, jeez.
When the Phillies scored 6 in the 9th and the Mets hung on to win 10-9. Ryan Howard is 2 for 3, and he fouls one at the plate. Well, Feliciano pitching the 7th tonight. No Billy Wagner tonight. Billy made his wonderful comeback last night, and I was talking to Billy about it this afternoon, and he said he had to step off the mound a couple of times because the emotions were just running so high.
Sure.
He's add up those saves.
Yeah, between Wagner and K-Rod. And, you know, Wagner's very comfortable in the role that he's in now, but he says, next year I want to be a closer. And he's even got a place picked out. Well, he knows he can't be a closer here because K-Rod will be here. He says, I wouldn't mind going to Washington because it's close to his home in Virginia.
That's right. He's 15 away from 400.
Oh, 2 to Howard. Off the plate with the slider. 1-2. But for the short term, Billy will either be here or perhaps in Boston.
Yeah.
because the reports tonight are that Billy has been claimed on waivers by the Red Sox, and now the Mets and Sox have till Tuesday to work out a deal.
Well, the Red Sox are getting clobbered tonight by the Yankees, and if they fall from the race, they're very much in the wild card. That changes everything. Here he is coming in last night.
He said that he felt most emotional when he was coming in, and then after the second strikeout when he was going off. So much work to get back. Howard down swinging, and Feliciano has his second strikeout of the inning.
Again, that changeup grip, circle grip. He's using it against the righties, Victorino, and also the left-handers. And the reason it works is because he bottoms it out, throws it down in the strike zone. Nice pitch.
Well, Jason Worth is up next. Brian Stokes is ready in the bullpen, and Sandy Alomar Sr. is running the club, with Jerry Manuel having been ejected in the 5th inning. Will make the pitching change here. Feliciano, a kick save away from a 1-2-3 inning, but he will leave with the tying run at the plate. Jason Worth coming up, and Brian Stokes coming in. Mets protecting a 4-2 lead in the 7th. Jason Worth takes ball 1 from Brian Stokes.
Well, Stokes has been unbelievable, especially since the All-Star break. 0.60 ERA, and even more importantly, 14 inherited runners. He's stranded 13.
He has just been phenomenal since taking over a bigger role in that bullpen. And he throws a slider for a strike, 1-1 to Worth.
He's a young pitcher who bounced around and needed a place where he could pitch, be a big leaguer for a while, and you knew he'd take off because he has the stuff.
Well, he just has gained so much confidence in his secondary pitches.
Slider he's throwing behind the count. He had his biggest at bat all year. He threw a 2-0 slider. Here a couple to Worth, but now behind in the count. What can he throw? 2-1. Will it be that fastball again, or maybe throw one more slider?
And he hits the outside corner with the slider, and it's 2-2.
Worth is probably up there going, what's going on? You got a guy like Stokes who has been a power pitcher, and now he's seeing a new wrinkle. And he's seen all sliders here. And you've got to go up there geared on fastball with Stokes. Now with 2 strikes, you got to go to hitting.
We're at the tying run at the plate with 2 out. Struck him out with a fastball. Set him up with the slider, struck him out with 96-mile-an-hour heat. 7th inning stretch time, 4-2 New York. Participated in the '69 World Series. Who was the only one with prior World Series experience? Pitcher Ron Taylor.
Very nice.
With the Cardinals against the Yankees in the '64 series. And of course, Ron, for the last 31 years, has been the team doctor with the Toronto Blue Jays. He was Tug McGraw's running mate in that '69 bullpen.
Can we get him up in the booth tomorrow? There's a guy I would love to talk to.
I would love to, too. There are a few guys that you never get to see. Nolan Ryan would certainly be first on that list, but people like Ron Taylor and Jerry Grody. I mean, people who would be fascinating to talk to. Luis Castillo takes a strike. Louis with another 2-hit game tonight, a pair of infield hits. His 4th straight multiple hit game. He's 9 for 14 these last 4 games, and he's up to .315 on the season. So even as Louis struggles at times with his focus in the field, at the plate he has been magnificent.
Unbelievable year offensively.
Slider from Park, and it's 1-2. Gary Sheffield on deck, and then Jeff Francoeur in the home 7th. Mets scored 2 in the 2nd. Tatis leading it off with a triple, and then 2 in the 3rd. Francoeur leading it off with a home run.
Well, Chan-Ho Park has rebuilt his career. When he left after pitching here for the Mets, you really said to yourself, you know what, I think this young man's career is maybe over.
Well, they stuck with him, and he struggled.
Strike 3 called. Castillo down looking. 2nd strikeout for Park.
You're right, Keith. He struggled as a starter, but they put him in the bullpen, and he's been outstanding.
And this was a team that needed pitching. It was a perfect team for him to go to.
And right now, with Clay Condrey on the disabled list, that means an even bigger role for Park.
Right.
And of course, they also have J.C. Romero on the disabled list. Neither one of those guys is coming back till at least the 1st of September.
And that's why I think they brought Pedro up. They felt he was ready, and they needed another left-hander in that bullpen, and Moyer was the choice. I mean, Moyer was the leader in wins for this ball club, even though his ERA was above 5.
Still is, with 11.
Sheffield 1 for 3, a check swing base hit in the 1st inning, and Park moves him back 2-0. Jeff Francoeur, 2 hits tonight, including a home run, waiting on deck.
Oh, change of mind.
I don't want to throw that.
I don't want to throw the 2-0 fastball down the middle.
Whoa, they got a shift on Chef here.
Like the left-hander.
A 2-0 curveball for a strike.
Ruiz called for the express. Chan-Ho Park said, I'm going to go with the local.
Well, Park's done well against Sheffield over the years. Gary's just 2 for 12 against him. Try that slider on 2-1, and it's in for a strike 2-2.
You know, as a hitter, that's got to be so frustrating. You work to get to 2-0, and then he throws a curveball for a strike and a slider darted on the outside black.
Well, sometimes those big league pitchers can do that to you.
Yeah, they're trying to.
Go back to it.
But, you know, Chef is kind of predictable up there. He's looking for something to pull all the time.
Fastball, strike 3 call. Back-to-back strikeouts for Park, and Sheffield, tossing the bat in frustration, has been ejected.
Looks like a strike to me. Too close to take.
Well, I think all night long, Mr. Drake, Rob Drake, has had a big strike zone and
too close to take.
A quick hook.
Well, that's 2 ejections tonight by 2 different umpires. Mark Wegner tossed Jerry Manuel back in the 5th, and now Sheffield, after taking a mental break yesterday, gets a couple of innings break tonight.
Well, he was going to be replaced, I would think, anyways, in the outfield. Don't you think? Maybe not.
Yeah, probably so. Okay. Although Jeremy Reed's already been used, so that leaves only Corey Sullivan as a backup outfielder. So Gary will get the rest of the night off. Francoeur, a home run and a single tonight. He grounds one toward the hole, and Francoeur has his 3rd hit of the game.
Well, Francoeur continues to rope.
Hitting over 300 as a Met. And Sheffield takes his exit. Now Tatis, who got the Mets started in the 2nd with a long triple beyond Worth's reach in right center, scored a run, then was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the 3rd. Well, Francoeur tried to steal a base in the 5th, was called out when he was not tagged. That led to Jerry Manuel's ejection. See if he tries to make up for it. Maybe he'll get tagged and be called safe.
Chan-Ho Park, yeah, exactly. A little quicker to the plate.
Good fastball. 0-1 to Tatis. Well, this was the steal attempt by Francoeur.
And there's no tag. We showed it at every possible angle, and that's all you need to see right there.
Mark Wegner thought he saw something. Jerry Manuel knew better.
Very emphatic ejection there.
It's the 4th time that Manuel's been ejected this year.
Like Mendy Rudolph.
Calling the charging?
Mendy Rudolph on the 3-point play, right? The breakaway layup in the heat of the final seconds of the basketball game was the greatest call ever. Foul call for basket good.
Yes, and it counts. That's where Marv got the call from. He got it from Mendy Rudolph.
Very nice.
Really?
Yep.
For all you folks that don't know who Mendy Rudolph is, he was a very, very fine NBA referee as a kid growing up for myself. Ronnie, you too. He was one of the best. He was a showman.
Very flamboyant.
Oh gosh, he knew when to give the little hot dog in there.
Breaking ball low, 2-2.
I had personally never seen that call till it was recreated on First Avenue by Keith Hernandez 25 years ago.
That's right. In front of Tokubai.
That's right.
Tokubai was one of our Japanese restaurant haunts on with Rusty, Upper East Side, back in the day.
There goes Francoeur, check swing foul ball.
Boy, what a jump he got. I mean, there was going to be no throw on this one.
Well, nobody was even covering.
No chance.
By the way, Mr. Francoeur plays hard for 27 outs, doesn't he?
Yes.
Isn't that the way you're supposed to play?
And he's like he and Tatis both play with enthusiasm, and they're inspiring.
Back to Park. And Chan-Ho Park with a couple of scoreless innings in relief, keeping the Phillies in it. 4-2 New York.
Welcome back to Citi Field as Brian Stokes will try to protect the Mets lead here against the Phillies. And you guys were talking about Stokes as he came on to get Worth in the last inning. And, you know, it's amazing. This is a guy that in 2007 had an ERA over 7. That's the kind of year it was for him. He was in the Tampa organization for 8 years. And I asked him what happened. He said, well, honestly, I got my chance, and I was in big spots. I was pitching in the 7th and 8th innings of games, and the first bunch of times I was in there, I blew it every time, and I simply lost confidence. He said it was that, and I was 2 years removed from Tommy John surgery, and my curveball flat out stunk. I'd never really regained the form and never felt right throwing that curveball again. So when he came to the Mets, as Ibanez sits here for the Phils to lead it off, when he came to the Mets, he ditched that and started picking up a slider. And he said, you know what, it was that, and it was confidence. And the more I got away from that, the more I started to get here and just kind of renew myself a little bit. And obviously, he's been great for the 2 years here as Ibanez starts it off with a single, guys. Back to you.
So that'll get the tying run to the plate for the Phillies here in the 8th inning. Well, the other thing about Stokes is that year in Tampa 2 years ago, as Corey Sullivan takes over for the ejected Sheffield in left field, that was really the first time that Stokes had ever worked in relief. He had been a starter for his whole career.
Yeah, and I think, boy, Kevin, that was a nice piece because that tells you the journey of a young pitcher. You know, if you get, Keith, you said you started and it was really tough for you in the beginning. Same for Stokes. You just, you know, got on the other side of it.
Phillies had an RBI single in his only at bat, and he yanks one foul.
And a lot of times, all it is just going to an organization or getting a manager that shows the confidence in you.
Yes.
And not have to go out there and go, if I give it up today, I'm not going to pitch for 3 days, or if I go 0 for 4, I'm not going to play tomorrow. It's tough to play that way.
And Stokes has had to earn trust here. He pitched very well last year, and then early this season, it seemed as though Jerry had a lot of confidence in him, using 5 straight games at one point. Then he was kind of the forgotten man for a month. But then other guys started to get hurt. Puts went out. Then there was some ineffectiveness. And Stokes slowly but surely earned that trust. And now he's in a very prominent role on this team.
I always liked Stokes, particularly last year. Jerry went to Stokes, was the only reliever, really, that he went with confidence with men on base. He had to come in and put the fire out. And Stokes, to me, I have no problem bringing him in with men on base to put the fire out. If he's going to get beat, you're going to have to beat him with his best stuff.
Phillies lines one to left field. Sullivan coming on, and there to make the grab. 1 out. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Huge series there.
Well, I stand corrected. Mr. Manuel, Charlie, has got Matt Stairs on the on-deck circle.
Carlos Ruiz grounds one to third. Tatis to second for one. Castillo to first. In time. Double play. Wow. Side retired. A big-time double play. 5-4-3, and that keeps Stairs on deck. 4-2 New York.
Did they get And a beautiful feed to Castillo. Nice turn by Louis, but I thought he was safe. And that's a huge call for the Mets. Ty Bates goes to the runner. Huge call because of Matt Stairs, a potential pinch hit home run. And here's the Coors Light freeze cam, and that looks safe to me.
Tim Timmons, the first base umpire, right on top of the play, getting a good look at it. Should have a good listen to it too. Brian Stokes loves what he sees and gets the double play to get through the inning.
Well, that's crucial because you've got Matson coming in now, Ronnie.
Well, I think you're right, Keith. At least it was bang bang, that play.
Yeah.
That always goes to the runner. Well worked, as Ryan Madsen, you could say. 61st game. He spent some time as the closer for this Philadelphia Philly team with not that much effectiveness while Brad Lidge was out with a sore right knee.
Well, when he first took over the role as the closer, he saved the first 2 ball games he was in, and then he fell into trouble. Yeah. And he wound up, during that period, saving 4 and blowing 4.
Well, Brian Stokes did a marvelous job in relief, an inning and a third to set it up for K-Rod. Now the Mets will try and get Frankie some breathing room. Daniel Murphy leading off, tops one up the first baseline. The kick's foul.
Well, very nice by Murph there. That ball wasn't touched. You never know. It could roll back into fair territory. There's Frankie.
He'll be bidding for his 27th save of the year. Mets and Cole Hamels are on for 4 runs and 10 hits over 5 innings tonight.
Pretty much straight up all the way around.
Howard pretty much close to that line, though.
Really? I just wouldn't play that close to the line on Murph. But you know, you got a change-up pitcher out there.
And Murph pulls one, foul.
Boy, how many guys are saved in the dugouts nowadays? Because in our day, you never had the screen. So balls would be rocketed in there all the time.
The screen started going up about 15 years ago. And now they are everywhere. Wilson Valdez with a bat in his hands. One of 3 players left in the Mets dugout available. 1-2 to Murphy. Lined over Hartley and into right field, a base hit. Murphy has his second hit of the night. And the Mets have their 12th. They're the pitching matchups for the rest of the series. Tim Redding takes Livan Hernandez's spot in the rotation. Jay Happ, the front runner for National League Rookie of the Year honors. Then Oliver Perez against Pedro Martinez Sunday afternoon. And Monday afternoon, Bobby Parnell tries to bounce back against Cliff Lee, who has been just marvelous for the Phillies, 4-0 since the trade from Cleveland. Here's Omir Santos. Let's see if the Mets are bunting here. You've got the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Santos tonight has an infield hit, scored a run, has a sacrifice fly caught by the first baseman in foul territory. That's unusual, as Tatis was able to race in.
We noticed another slip on first base.
Are they making those bases differently, or is it the plastic cleats that are the culprit?
I think the plastic cleats, but we don't know. Maybe Murphy has the steel cleats.
Murphy's running. Now the hit and run play, Santos fouls it off.
Keith, what are those bags made out of anyway? Like a polyurethane, or?
They do allow, it's kind of a rubbery, but a hard rubber, so your cleats, when you do hit the bag, obviously they do dig in there because you can't have everybody just slipping and sliding.
Well, we've seen that a number of times the last few days. They're putting dirt on the bag to try and create a little traction. Now the bunt is on, and Santos gets it down and moves Murphy to second. 1-3 on the sacrifice.
I love the managing there, right? Give him a shot at a hit and run first. It didn't work out, so now bunt him over, and you get 2 shots to get an extra run. Santos has done a nice job of bunting all season long, by the way.
Cole Howard, he didn't even make an attempt to charge a bunt. He got the put out.
So now Anderson Hernandez will try and get that extra run in. And Andy Green is on deck to pitch hit. Hernandez 0 for 3. He's flying to center and struck out twice. Rollins making a run to the bag, but Madsen merely stepping off. And Madsen paying a lot of attention to Murphy, who is not a base stealer. Has just 2 this year.
And you got a left-hand hitter up who is not going to impede the throw of the catcher to third base.
Hernandez takes inside, ball 1. In the probably too little too late department in the National League, Houston Astros, who got great pitching out of Wandy Rodriguez last night, got 7 scoreless out of Roy Oswalt tonight and beat Arizona 1-0. The Astros started the night 10 back in the Central and 9 back in the wild card. It's been a strange year for Oswalt. That's only his 7th win.
Yeah, he's a perennial 15-win kind of guy.
He's not getting any younger.
He's had some injury stops and starts too this season.
And he's a little guy who throws hard. And that always scares you as far as longevity is concerned. 3-0 now to Hernandez. Taking all the way 3-1. Chan-Ho Park did a great job for the Phillies to keep them in the game with 2 scoreless innings of relief. And now Madsen trying to hold the fort at the bottom of the 8th before the Phillies go to work against K-Rod in the 9th. 3-2 now Hernandez. The Phillies will have 9-1-2 in the order. And I wonder if they'll use Stairs as a leadoff hitter when they're down by 2 runs. They've also got Bacco and Bruntlett. Bacco a left-hand hitter, Bruntlett a right-hand hitter on the bench. 3-2, Murphy runs, swing and a miss, throw to third by Ruiz, and Murphy steals third. Hernandez strikes out for the second out, but Murphy picks up just his 3rd stolen base of the season.
Well, you know what? It's ill-advised. Okay, he stole 3rd. You got 2 strikes on a hitter. You don't want to distract a hitter. If you're going to do that, and why does Murph have a green light is beyond me.
So now he's at 3rd with 2 out, and Andy Green will be the pinch hitter. Andy just called up a few days ago. Journeyman infielder has gone 1 for 3 with the Mets. Don't forget, right after the game, join Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda for all of tonight's highlights, exclusive interviews. We'll hear from Mike Pelfrey about his fine effort tonight, Jerry's postgame reactions, and more on Lincoln Mercury Postgame Live immediately after tonight's game and after all 162 Met games right here on SNY. Darryl Strawberry will be joining Chris and Bobby in the studio tonight. It's a lot of high-priced talent there.
It is.
1-1 to Andy Green. The Yankees just got to 20.
That is in your face.
And we just found out the limitation of the Citi Field out-of-town scoreboard. They don't have room for a 20.
Wow, I know it's 10, right?
Oh. Here's the 2-1. Bounced over the mound. Tough play for Utley to his right. And he missed the running toss on target to end the inning. Now we go to the 9th at Citi Field. K-Rod on to try and save it. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Toyota. By StubHub. And by Wendy's. It's way better than fast food. Francisco Rodriguez on to pitch the ninth, looking for his 27th save. Matt Stairs pinch hits to lead off. 4-2 New York. And Stairs pulls the first one down to Murphy. He'll take it himself. One pitch, one out.
Well, nice glove there, Murph. Good break. Nice up hop. He's done a nice job there, hasn't he? Let me tell you. Bravo.
That ball took a little tricky hop, like it was trying to work its way behind him.
Coming up face high.
Yeah.
That was a bullet. He got an excellent jump on that.
So Stairs retired. Boy, he doesn't get cheated, does he?
Stairs can hit.
Hits the ball hard every time.
He can hit. Well, this guy can pitch. 26 for 31 in save situations so far this year. Done his best work against the NL East. Only a couple of earned runs in 23 and 2/3 innings pitched.
Just needs to stay away from the walks.
Yep.
It's been the biggest detriment in Frankie's season. Rollins 1 for 4 tonight. Single back in the third. He was the last batter Pelfrey faced in the 6th inning. With the bases loaded in a 4-2 game, Pelfrey got Rollins to pop up. And that finished his night and gives Mike a chance for his 9th win if K-Rod can finish it. 1-1 to Rollins. Fouled away, 1-2.
The 2 pop-ups, right, Gary? Ben Francisco and then Jimmy Rollins back-to-back. Good work by Mike.
Shane Victorino on deck. If K-Rod can get him 1-2-3, he can avoid those big left-handed bats of Utley and Howard. One-two. Lifted down the left field line, and that's out of play. Pelfrey went 6, allowed 2 runs and 6 hits. Pedro Feliciano faced 3 batters, struck out 2 of them. Brian Stokes went an inning and a third, no runs, 1 hit. And now Frankie Rodriguez trying to finish it off. To left center field, that's going to drop for a base hit and roll back to the edge of the warning track. Rollins to second with a 1-out double. 32nd double of the year for Rollins, and thus the Phillies will get the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning.
Well, I'll tell you what, that play by Murph right now is large. It's a 1-run ball game with this man on second base. Nice hitting by Rollins. Hey, all those things, they add up, boy.
So now Victorino, who's 0 for 3 and a walk tonight, hitless in 2 career at bats against K-Rod. And he takes the change up for a strike. Now the 0-1. Fastball strike. 0-2. Chase Utley on deck. Little tapper, tough play, and Tatis will have to put it in his pocket. And now the tying runs are on base. A 45-foot base hit for Shane Victorino.
Well, that's just unfortunate right there. Good pitch by Rodriguez. Full swing by bunt by Victorino.
You could not have bunted it better. And the big guys are coming up.
So the predicament deepens for Francisco Rodriguez after retiring Stairs on the hard ground ball. Rollins with a double. Victorino an infield hit. And now the big left-handed bats in the Philly lineup will get a chance with the tying runs on base.
You know, it's very interesting to me that first pitch slider from Rodriguez stares at a bullet. Double by Rollins on a slider. It's almost like the Philadelphia Phillies hitters are going up there looking for the secondary pitches from Rodriguez.
And Tatis, you see, not guarding the line. You see him a little closer. The odds of it Utley going that way are right down the line. A lot of left field line are slim to none, but it can't happen.
Utley always takes the first pitch, takes a strike. Rollins is at third. Victorino, the man who matters, is on first. Would he think about trying to swipe a base?
Or do you want to leave that hole open for Utley?
He's the tying run.
I would leave that hole open for Utley.
That's turned a big double play in the last inning. Popped it up, and that's out of play. 0-2. Final at Fenway, Yankees 20, Red Sox 11.
Ouch. Here's the statement.
And they've taken the game off the board, Citi Field, because they couldn't fit the 20. How about that? Because it would say 11-10, it would look like the Red Sox won. That's funny. Two to Utley. He struck him out. 2 out.
Oh, nice pitch here. Fastball right down the middle. No, I think I'm wrong. That's a changeup.
Beautiful change
there by Rodriguez.
Look at the bottom drop out. Beautiful pitch. Tough guy to strike out.
Now he's got to contend with Ryan Howard. Howard has hit 3 bullets tonight. He's 2 for 4. He's driven in a run. He has 99 RBIs for the season.
Well, it's left field out there, Sullivan.
He's got 371 on his back.
As deep as they can play to try and keep the go-ahead run out of scoring position. 4-2 New York, 9th inning. And Howard watches a strike. Change up to start him off.
He's led both big left-hand bats off with changeups.
Rollins and Victorino, the tying runs on base with 2 out.
Another Cambio.
Howard takes it low. 1-1.
Good eye by Howard right there.
And a little more juice on the changeup from Frankie these last couple of batters.
Or 88 miles an hour. I think what he's trying to do is not throw one in there, throw it hard, just keep it down.
Another one. Fastball away.
Yeah, that's a good pitch. Fastball away, he can take you deep to left.
1-1 curve. And it's outside. 2-1. That's a pitch that Frankie wanted to get a strike with. Jason Worth, who has been very hot with the home run bat, waiting on deck.
It's interesting that Victorino's not running now, Keith, because there's no hole. The defense played against Howard.
Yep.
That's with the triangle on the right side.
Another curve.
Swing and a miss. 2-2.
Not a strike. Pretty good curveball right here. Tough to lay off.
Look at that rotation. That has good late bite. Down and in though, danger zone.
Phillies down to their final strike.
Curve. Away.
Outside. 3-2.
Oh, Victorino's running now. Gap's going to score him.
Well, you got the outfield playing so deep, no doubles, but that's more about preventing the double by Howard that would get the go-ahead run to scoring position. Where they're playing, Victorino could score on a single.
3-2 changeup, Keith. Here you go.
It's over. Frankie Rodriguez seals the deal for Mike Pelfrey, and the Mets take the opener of the series with the Phillies. A terrific ball game as the Mets win it 4-2.
A really great ball game. Nice pitching from the relief corps of the New York Mets, Feliciano, Stokes, and of course Rodriguez. Francoeur with 3 hits, including the home run. Tatis scored a couple of runs. Murphy with a couple of hits and a win for half a win. Sandy Alomar Sr.
Well, again, Francoeur with the big bat today. Lots of good hustle. That's what I'd like to see. Tatis on the bases, and the triple that started the Mets at second inning when they scored 2. Scored on the heads-up play on the pop-up down the right field line, shallow right. Just a good game played all around, and Phillies seem to bring out the best in the Mets. So the Mets on top 4-2 in this one.
Well, K-Rod made it hard on himself. He gave up the double to Rollins, the infield hit to Victorino, but he struck out Utley and Howard to finish the game tonight and sealed the deal. A 4-2 Mets victory, and the Phillies lead is cut to 5.5 in the East. Back with more from Citi Field in a moment.